we are here. We have enough time at nights where everybody's in the house isn't asleep, so I don't have to keep my voice down. So you should be able to hear me a little bit better this video. But welcome back. We have the last time we had a Bitcoin video. We were in the low 70,000s, I believe. Let's take a look. It looks like what we were looking at last time was if we were looking at the parabolic trend lines, and we're going to draw those up right now. But as you can see in the last video, we talked about, this is the last official video we talked about the possibility of coming worst case all the way down to we talked about worst case. We talked about the base case was that we would come down to like 74 or something like that. And a little bit lower, we happened to hit that 74. But another case I was stating was that we could possibly go all the way down to 49, 50K as the worst case scenario. Another scenario we were looking at was coming down within this zone here, which was around 77, 78K, and keeping the trend line before we bounced. Ultimately, if we take a look at what we have going on now, we're zoomed out on the 1 day. Ultimately on actually, let's go to the 1 week. We got a wick below, and we can move all this for now. We happen to get a wick below that 78.4 range. So and if we draw a trend line, a parabolic, we can draw the parabolic trend lines out on this. All right, go here to here. There to there. See, I don't like how this is playing out. Two. All right, 3. And we're counting that as the bottom of the parabolic trend line. And if we keep that going, there's still a possibility that we do come down into the 69.7, 60, all the way down to 67 range. Because last time we did pull back into this range here. From there, we could be somewhere. It's playing right now. It's playing out the same as if we have hit this liquidity zone equivalently in this area here, where we're at right now. So let's take away these parabolic trend lines. We can get rid of a lot of this stuff here. But ultimately, we're zoomed in on this price structure here. We're gonna just stick with. We can come back to the 1 week, but ultimately, we want to find liquidity levels with where we're currently at. Identify if this lower low, these three drives down, 1, 2, 3 are enough for us to satisfy the drop that we're looking for to start reaccumulating, which in the premium and members group we did talk about buying in Crypto Lion. He talked about buying it in at 74,500. He had been talking about it for a few weeks, and lo and behold, look what we got 74,500 on the dot. If you did get in at these levels, you should be holding from here pretty much until it gets ran through again, which right now it doesn't look like that's going to happen again. We could still get a failed trend line breakthrough. We got the trend line breakthrough. We could come back through. We could touch back to 76K, or we could get one more big breakdown down here before we start to we can get something akin to this before we finally get a breakthrough somewhere around beginning of May or so. But our base case right now is we're keeping to the idea that we have broken through, and the levels we're going to retest are coming are already here. Have already identified them. So what we're going to start with is we're going to make this a little educational for the people who do want to learn. Even if it's only 1 or 2 people, then that's great. Hopefully these technical analyses can change your life, help you towards understanding how to make money on your own. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole reason. That's the biggest reason why I do this. But if you really want to learn without having to take from what I put out in my videos, we have a premium group where I can answer all your questions at any time of the day to help you. If you have dreams like I used to have about becoming financially free through trading, then that's what I'm here for. That's what Black Lion Kings is here for. So first thing we're gonna look at, I have all these lines drawn out, as you can see, 109 value area low, POC, all these marked out, and so I'm gonna try to make this as quick and efficient as possible. So 2 things that I do: I mark out liquidity levels with the anchored volume profile, and you can find that up here on the 4th level in Trading View, anchored volume profile. We're gonna run from the all-time high to the lows, and once you pick out the all-time high, or whatever high of these whatever candle you pick, it uses that as its high, right? Or if you come down to this low, it uses that as the low. Even if it has another low, it'll take from this section to that section. So it's going to be taking from 109K all the way to the current candle that we're at. Okay, so now these volume bars over here serve, you can see the bigger bars serve as where more volume is. The blue serves as long volume, and the red pink serves as short volume. So you can tell, is there a lot more short volume than long volume? Then if we're going up, then there might be a rejection, and vice versa. If there's more long volume than sell volume, then there's a more likely chance that we'll go up, right? So it depends on what you have there. But the good thing is these lines, I went into settings, I have it selected, clicked on settings, I go in, I make sure I have volume area high, why do I keep saying value area high, value area low, point of control. You can have the developing point of control as sort of a VWAP, volume weighted anchor profile, if you want to. But I have those first 3 lined up. Make sure you have volume profile marked out, and then you can change the colors of these boxes if you want. What I did was I changed the value area high as dotted line, more dots, value area low as the spread out dashes, and the POC is a thicker white line. All right, so I have those set, and so now we know with this range, these are the levels that we're looking at to hold. Ideally, we want to hold this 109K. I have it marked out as a 109K value area low. We broke below it, but then we came right above it, so we can consider that as support for that for this entire move after we got the 3 drives down. And currently, we are trying to establish the 109. I have the 109K value area POC marked out there. I created a line. What I do is try to hover above that line, click the plus sign, draw a horizontal line, then I go into settings, and then I say 109K value area high, right, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, and it'll show up there. Change the colors, make it show up how you want it to show up. All right, let's get rid of that line. Okay, so we have that marked out, and then we also have the 109K value area high marked out as a rough estimate around almost $95,000. So right now, what we're looking at going into the week, since this is on the daily, we're looking to hold 84K as support. It's a good thing that we bounced up. So first thing you want to look for is that we bounce off this value area high, and then we at least go to what's considered the median point of all this volume. All the volume from 109K down to 74,500. This is the median volume for where the most volume is sitting. So this entire area from say 81.7 to 88.7, 88, 89, 88,900. That's where the thickest volume is, and so ideally you're going to see a lot of price action, ups and downs happening between these zones. But ultimately, since this is the median price, where the thickest volume area is, then this is the area that we want to see. If we're bulls, upward momentum. If we're bearish, we want to see a drop down from these level, rejection from these levels. Again, this is on a higher time frame, so we have to keep in mind that this price action is going to move a little bit slower. So if we do see a move up over, to, I mean, at least, okay, if we, and sticking with the 109K value, volume profile, yes, then in order to see this happen, ideally we want to see it happen fast, and ideally within this week from just the price action that I'm seeing. Yeah, it could take a week, 2 weeks, could take until the end of May, or the beginning of May. But I do think this price action, if we do get 96K, it's going to happen a little bit faster than we expect. So that's how you mark out 109K. Now we're going to go down to the next visible level. We're going to use the same one. You can just delete this whole thing and realign it, or you can just take it to the next important level, which the next important level here is where we got the rejection at the 109K value area high, the previous value area high from the past, and we're going to 95K. Now we're looking at the 95K value area low. Let's make sure 95 on the dot. 95K value area lows right there. Let's bring that line there so we have it marked out. Again, once we wake up in the morning, we're gonna have to move it again, since price action is gonna move. And then we have the median volume area, the median value area. It looks like we're trying to hold this, which is very important. We have some confluence between a nice little profile area between 84K and 500 or so. We have the 95K line marked out, 95,000 POC already marked out, right? So this area is very important level of confluence. We want to see a bounce there. We do not want to see a breakdown and then a retest into back into the zone, because there's too much volume there right now, which would then spell for us to tumble down, or I like to say tumble down this hill before we find support. And the next level of support would be the 95K value area low, which does happen to be a very good area for putting in a long order at. Again, you have to watch it really closely. One thing we do is look for, we pull up market cipher B and say we do tumble down to this level, whether we break back down under the trend line, or we just tumble down the road over the next few days or over the next week before we hit that level. We'd want to see some curl over action happening here. So we already have the RSI curling over up top, so we could see some price action, the momentum wave and the VWAP starting to curl down for that to happen. But if we're bullish, we want to see a bounce from this level, and the next level we would want to see is, again, let's pull this back up, or pull it down. The next level we want to see is 88,150 if we're bullish. And if we hit that level, it looks like we've hit that level on the daily. I mean, on the daily is once, twice, 3 times, 4 times already. We had a swing fail pattern from there before all of that. So if we're saying on the daily, yeah, we want to attack that level one more time, and hey, we could attack that level and either pull back to, and we would want to hit this level. We want to hit this level and then pull back into this level and make it support, before we then start hopefully uptrending, break it again, retest it again, whatever the case may be. 4 or 5 times should be enough to break through, especially on Bitcoin. Bitcoin likes 4 and 5 times, 4 and 5 time retest, and then before we start heading up to the 109K value area high. If that doesn't end up working out, then hey, we get a nice little reset, come back to this 95K value area low, retest this again. We might tumble in here for a little bit before we end up coming back, retesting that and getting a big breakthrough and hitting our one of our big targets is this value area high. Now, the second thing that I do add in to these analysis, besides the value area, the volume profile, is Fibonacci level. So we take the 74.5 level and take it all the way up to all-time high, and this is how we measure for, particularly for if we're going backwards one step to the 109K anchored volume profile. We do end up seeing, let me flip this around, we do end up seeing some confluence between, how far, 15 minutes? All right, we're gonna get through this part. Ideally, we want to see a move up to 96,289. The most likely level that we do see hit if we get this move up would be the 109K value area high at almost 95K. So now if we're gonna go forward a little bit again, we're gonna go down to the we're gonna pull it down to the 95K level, as you see there, 95K level, bring it up to the 95, which happens to be at the 109K value area high. Now you start getting confluence. Get rid of this. Now you start getting confluence, and this is very important to understand. We want to find confluence between either the 618 and 65% golden pocket, as you see here, or you want to see confluence between. If you see confluence between any of these Fibonacci levels, that's the most likely, highest chance probability of where resistance and support is going to be. If we're going up, it's resistance. Going down, you want to see it as support. So we have confluence with what seems to be 65% level on the Fibonacci level. So this is how you end up getting these little wicks. Is a lot of people are going to have their sell order set here or even here at 87,105, but we end up getting wicks to the value area levels, which in this case is the 95K value area high. So this is the highest value level that we want to hit for 95K. So typically we'd see a reversal from this level, and this happens to be 88,100. We'll see a hit to this level, and then we'll see a pullback to the next, typically to the next support level, which happens to be at 84K, which is a 95K point of control. Now, if we're bullish, we'd hit that level, and then we pull back to the 109K point of control, and then we bounce there. Now we start operating within the 109K. We start operating in the 109K value area level for our next target. Upside target would be 95, almost 96K. But for now, we're just looking at the 95K. If we hit this 95K value area high, we're looking to, if we're holding this 95K point of control, we're holding this point of control level, and our next level will be this golden pocket plus the 95K value area high. All right. So now if we do end up failing and pulling back, we're gonna move this anchored volume profile. I'm trying to say it slowly. If we do fail, in my eyes, again, we're gonna need to bring up, I don't like that being called local. It needs to be, we're gonna rename it to the 88,500. It's not the POC, it is the value area low for 88,000. This is the 88,500 volume profile, right? Okay, so we have that marked out. We gotta get this done. Sorry, I need to start compressing this a little bit more. We have a lot of lines going on, but now we're gonna bring the Fibonacci down. So we brought the value, we brought the volume profile down. Now we've got to bring the Fibonacci down. All right, so what it looks like, again, we have more confluence. This is why this is such an important level. 83,130 seems to be, it's confluent with the we're getting support off of the golden pocket here. As you can see, it bounced there right off the 618, and now we got higher levels off of that. Now we're nearing $84,900 at the time of this recording. So this is a very important area. If we pull back, we don't want to see any more of a pullback than down to 82,400, which happens to be the 88,500 point of control, the central median point, of all of these levels. Now this is the levels. The lower levels we go, the more volatility we're going to get in the value, the volume profile. So we do need to make an 88K value area high. So we're going to click the plus, draw a horizontal line, click settings, 88,500 value area high. We have visited, as you can see, we have visited the 88.5 value area high already 3 times already. This is on the daily chart. If we do get a pullback, say we get a pullback into 83,130 again, or even to to the point of control, we do want to see a move back up to that level and take out that level and possibly even go higher than that, because it has been hit several times. One time blasted through and before we got a massive pullback there. 2, 3, 4, and 5 we got a rejection on the weekly, but now it seems like we're pushing up even more. So that's how we mark out where we're going with the value area lows, value area high, point of control, volume profiles. Okay, we're gonna zoom in to now we have all these levels marked out. Now we go into the 4 hour, start looking closer at what's actually going on and what we had going on over the past few days. We're talking about it in the group, and it's shown in the open channel, premium and members channels. We had this price action going on. We had an ascending wedge. We've seen the ascending wedge multiple times come down to the 1 hour, or let's say even lower time frames, right? We had something like that going on here. This is an important level we were watching to make sure that we didn't break down again. It's very sensitive. It was a very sensitive time while the tariff talks were going on, and then voila, within this hour we got a breakthrough because Trump rescinded all of the tariffs except for China. So we got a breakthrough, and now we're looking for higher highs as we went. And now we're getting higher highs, and now we're in a bigger ascending wedge. Ascending wedges break down 70% of the time. We hit our 88,500 value area. Sorry. Stay on 4 hour. We hit on Saturday, U.S. time, 5 o'clock Pacific. We hit 86,100, which happened to be the 88,000 value, right near the 88,000 value area high, before we pulled back into this heavy support system that we had here with the 109K point of control and the 95K point of control converging. We got to bounce off of that. Now, ideally, we want to see higher. We want to see a higher high from here, but typically as we got a rejection from there, we could get another rejection from the 88,500 value area high again at somewhere around 85,500 before we end up pulling back, or we could end up seeing a move up. We could end up seeing a move up past this level to the next value area high, which that would signify to us, oh, we're playing the 95K value area high level game, and we're no longer playing the 88,500 zone anymore. So then even if we get a rejection there, 88K again, which would be again 4th, 5th touch, however you want to see it, we would end up pulling back to, we'd want to pull back to 84K, right? We could get this, I don't want to say negative news. Something could trigger a further pullback from here and take us even lower to the 95K value area low, which would then be a reset of this entire zone. Ultimately, that would be, we take Fibonacci, say we go up here, Fibonacci, that would end up being near a 618 pullback as well, which then would take us to somewhere around between 80,500 and 79,600 ish or so before we end up trying to trend back up again. Ultimately that would be the higher high we're looking for, even if we do end up coming down to here to this zone before we end up bouncing back up and hopefully trending back up and creating new higher highs, and hopefully we move our way up that way. So we're looking for, I want to get rid of all this. So that is what we're looking for right now, is we're going to mark it out. This is what I give to the premium members every single day. They get a less than 5-minute analysis on how to scalp trade and day trade using this method. Okay, and we're going to mark out these price levels. So one level we want to see break. So this is the first level we're going to look at tomorrow, 85,000, almost 600. Copy paste, make another one. If we do pull back, we're looking for this level. We go back even further than that. We're looking at the 85K point of control. I think if we do hit the 95K value area high, which could happen by the time, by the US Open in the morning, and we get a very sharp pullback, because we got a very sharp move up over the last few days. That means we're going to get a sharp pullback as well. So the next level we want to identify on lower time frames, or sorry, lower prices, is going to be 80,400-ish, this value area low for 95K. Worst case than that is the next level we're looking for is going to be 78,000, around 600-ish or so. So we've identified all the levels we want to see below. Now the levels we want to see above, there's only a few right now. Obviously the 85,600, and we also want to see 88,150 hit before we then pull back to all these levels. Now higher levels we want to see, ultimately we want to see 94,850-ish, 84,900 or so. Now to verify that these levels are possible, we're getting a green dot on the 4-hour. We also got a green dot. We got a green dot on the 1 day several days ago, which was the clue that we could get higher prices. We talked about this in the premium group and the members channel. And on the weekly, we finally got a weekly green dot. This is a big deal. This is the final thing I'm going to say about Bitcoin. This is a big deal. As I spoke about in the previous videos, what we are looking for ultimately to match what was going on here, without having to look at, oh, did we reach down to the bottom of this level from 64K all the way down to 28,500, which equivalently, as I mentioned before, in my mind, that would have been all the way down to somewhere between 52,000 and 49,000. That didn't happen, but the next thing that made sense to me for where we would go, for where we would stop at, is when we get this green dot equivalent to this one here as well. Now we got the green dot a little bit later in life. I think we are 2 months ahead of schedule, so we could again get more chop in this zone for the next 2 months, or we start seeing this price action a little bit sharper and a little bit more. And here's what we're gonna do, right? Because it seems like we're right here. We got a higher high off of that. Like, we could see something like this. We could see much sharper price action coming in. That would, I mean, this topped us out in November. This topped us out in October. Sorry, yeah, topped us out in November. We want to see that again. So, I mean, this same price action could extend all the way over to, we have the blue line marked out, to the same exact time frame. So we, going back to my initial idea, we could see this chop around for another 2 months. Let's see, June. another month or so, since I believe we are 2 months ahead of schedule. We can see it chop around for another 2 months or another month before we hit this, what ends up being the 618 level. Spend too much time on this one. We end up hitting the 618 level before we got another micro 618 pullback into a new all-time high, and we could see something very similar happening there. We got the 1 week green dot, so that means over the course of identically, we could see over the course of the next we could see some upward action for the next month before we see a slight pullback, and then we can start moving ourselves into new all-time highs. But that's what we have. That's all we have now for Bitcoin. We're going to leave it at that. We're going to take a little pause before we go into the next video, and then we're going to break up all these videos into their own videos. So stay tuned. All right, that Bitcoin video is a little bit long-winded because we haven't talked about Bitcoin for at least a few weeks on YouTube. We have been talking about it in the Black Lion Kings Discord. Come watch it there. Now we're going to take a look at, we're going to put Solana ahead of Ethereum. More people want to see Solana anyways. The Solana Bitcoin, we're going to end up coming back to that. Solana USD, we're going to just stick with Binance. And we are going to mark out, we're going to make this, as we go along, it's going to be a little bit quicker because we know the process now, right? Okay, so obviously a little bit different from what Bitcoin's looking like right now. A little bit different, we got higher lows here, but Solana has lower, we had a lower low on that price action compared to the last structure here. We got a higher low there, Solana got a lower low compared to the last structure. So we're gonna clean this up a little bit. We're gonna take anchored volume profile. We're gonna stay with all-time high for right now, just to see the future going forward. We'll make a more comprehensive video on what is happening in the past. We may need to use these levels back here to identify where we're going in the future. We'll see right now, but we're gonna try to trudge forward from all-time high at that hit 200, or not all-time high, not yet, all-time high that hit $295, and the cycle started at, we're on the 3-day. This entire cycle started at a low of under $10. All right, so we took the volume profile, marked it out. We hit the value area low perfectly at $95. If we would have been talking about it, we would have figured it out. But oh well, here we are. Now we are very close to hitting the $140 mark, which is very good for us. It makes it very clear and concise for us to look into the future with. And then we also have, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do as we did with Bitcoin, horizontal line. And we're going to say, was it 295 value area low? I need this to show up. Sometimes it doesn't show up right away. It's weird. And then we're in the bottom right, area low. Let's say okay, and then we're gonna have to go back into it. Okay, it's showing. Sorry, it's lower. Okay, now we're gonna mark out this one at 140. Horizontal line, settings. 295. Sorry, we're on Sol and hit some wrong button. So we marked out the 105 range, or sorry, the 295 range. As you can see, value area low, POC, value area high. Now we're going to mark out the $180 range. This one's at 113. Settings. This one is 180. Very low. This one's 180.